Hey guys, Peter Brooks bringing you guys another video. I have something super exciting to show you guys, but before we do, I have good news. My bricks for the rest of the Orient Express is coming. LEGO has finally shipped it, so it should be here in the next couple of days, hopefully. But, purpose of this video, I have my Darth Malak figure here, and I have just acquired what I would consider to be one of the more passionate sets that I've wanted for a very long time. It's not a white whale, by many means. I don't have many white whales left that I want, but this set is definitely up there as far as like cool factor for me. And I got them in a bundle. I got them for $100 and I got them off of Facebook. So let's go ahead and show you guys what it finally is. And I'll let you know it has something to do with this figure. All right, guys. So pulling off the band-aid for this set, we have 2 of the 4 Old Republic sets in the collection now. And these are opened. They have all the figures. I got them for $100 online from someone that just didn't want them anymore. They're just getting rid of their collection. And I am more than happy to acquire them. I will say the clutch power on these figures, being nearly 13 years old, definitely is diminished. But they're still awesome. They're going to go in my case and they'll be protected forever. But I am so happy to have this set. I have Darth Malgus's Sith Fury class Infiltrator, still sealed, new in box. And I may part one out in a couple years or maybe sooner rather than later if I really want to have it built. I would love to have a place for all my old Republic sets just because there's not many of these sets. There were 4 made, with one polybag being one of the most expensive polybags of all time, Darth Revan. And what I think is really crazy about these sets is that if LEGO doesn't, a couple years back, people thought that LEGO was going to be making more Old Republic stuff when the new era of Disney took over and Episode 9 wrapped, and it just didn't happen. And here we are now, 13 years later, and all of these figures are really expensive, and more importantly, we might not ever get these figures again. We might not ever get Satele Shan or these Sith troopers or any of these Republic troopers because this is from a game from a decade or plus ago, and the game actually got sold off last year from EA to another company. Does that mean LEGO Star Wars or Star Wars is going to make another online game and they're going to get a sub-theme? I don't think so. I think this might be all we get. And that's why these sets are so important to me. I love the Old Republic. I grew up with the games on the original Xbox, and those games ingrained so much more in me. At that time, that was like peak Star Wars. We had Revenge of the Sith, Episode 2, all of the games, Republic Commando, Clone Wars, both eras. We had so much Star Wars in the early 2000s, and then wrapping it all up with the tail end of this game and just what it had brought to expand that universe that was already in place from the early 2000s really did a great job. And unfortunately, I had just gotten out of Star Wars or LEGO Star Wars about a year or 2 before this game actually came out. But I did see the sets at the time, and I was like, oh, those are really cool. Wish I was still into Star Wars. And I'm glad that I can finally add them to my collection. We're going to go through the figures and the builds and just talk about them a little bit. Things I like, things I don't like. All right, guys. So the first thing we have here is the Republic Strike class fighter. If you guys didn't know, this is actually one of the ships in the game that the Jedi Counselor or the Jedi Knight can actually have. I forget which one it was because it's been some time since I've actually played these. But it is a really cool ship nonetheless. And one of the really cool things about this is it actually has a play feature where it opens up like this and turns into more of like a Z95 or more of like a Republic Starfighter that we are more, akin to or used to in the more of a modern age. So it's nice that they're able to show off, where it could have gone or how some of the ships from a previous or like that were in the future, seeing where they could have come from, which is always nice that they kept a lot of the design features very similar, and they did a really good job just executing it in the game or translating it from the game to real life. We do have old flick fire missiles. We'll try to put some more oomph behind them. They do go. Look at that. Still really well. Yeah, I mean, it has the old classic X-Wing cockpit, as you guys can see here. Has 2 panels on the side there and can fit Satele Shan just fine. And then additionally, if they wanted to fold the ship up, you can just have this little pinch feature, and now it is like an A-wing practically, which is again a really cool nod from the game to making it a feature. for the Lego build, I think that's awesome. It's definitely one of the coolest sets that I'm glad to have in my collection. Um, Engines look cool. I will say it's very simple. I would love to see them redo this with newer elements and parts. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but there's a chance that there's a mock out there and we can do a comparison. Let's go and talk about the battle pack. It came with 4 figures and it came with this little speeder, and this speeder is a mount in the game you use to traverse the many maps in the game. This set released for $12.99, and for 4 figures and a small micro build for 12 bucks, this was the dream, man. Lego Star Wars fans were eating good back then. We'll be lucky to get 4 figures for $20 now. But let's go and look at the figures. Jumping into the figures for both of these sets, we have the Astromech Droid, which is actually a brick-built Astromech with a little wheel. This is T701. He released with the Republic Starfighter, and also this is one of the Astromechs that in this era this brick-built one did not have a space in the Starfighter to sit. It was just like an additive micro build for the build itself, which is pretty cool. We have some printing on top and on front. Surprisingly, they're not stickers, which I find incredible, especially for 2013, 2014 Star Wars. So the next 2 figures we have here is going to be the Republic Trooper, or Jace Malcolm, with his large heavy cannon. And he's actually in the trailer for the game, and unfortunately we did not get a helmet for him. I wish we did. I believe you can actually get custom helmets made for this figure, just to have the Heavy Trooper helmet from Old Republic, which is just the same helmet as these guys had. But he has red arms, he has front and back torso, and just front leg printing. Pulling the gun off here, which is actually just a really unique build in itself. You guys can see here, just looks really good. Just a very detailed figure. I'm really glad that we got this figure. I wish we got more with it. It just seems kind of like maybe some troopers or something else. We next get basically the leader of the Republic, or like the fill-in Bastila from the original KOTOR series, which this is Satele Shan, and she is kind of like the leader of the Jedi Order at the time, and very much like, I would say like the Yoda, but there is like a Yoda fill-in in that era. But she is very much like one of the key figures in the Jedi Council at the time, and ultimately you touch base with her a lot throughout the game, and just really cool of Lego to make this character. You guys can see here we have torso printing. She has 2 facial features, one here and one on the back, and she also has back printing as well. Just a good figure. I mean, even 13 years later, this figure still holds up. All right, guys. So the last figures we have with these 2 builds is Sith Troopers and Republic Troopers from this era. So we have a Sith Trooper with a red torso and legs, with a same black helmet, and then we have the Sith Trooper with black printing on the front and the back, as you can see here. Both of them just have the same generic face. Pretty cool, nonetheless. And then we also have 2 Republic Troopers with a very unique helmet mold that was never used again. We have one face here where he's like smiling, having a good time, with a very unique weapon build as well, which is pretty cool, just being able to see really diverse weapon builds. I wish Lego would still do this with some stuff. We did kind of get that with Mandalorian, with the heavy Mando that passed in season 3, but not much more. And we also have another helmet here. Just very cool. Just the design with the orange and the white is just very iconic. Old Star Wars, just looks really good. All right, guys. So just getting into my final thoughts on these 2 sets, I will tell you right now that I wish Lego had done more with this theme or anything. You know, it's really wild to me that it was the one time that we got a very large build for an offshoot theme. I mean, I will say that there are others that have happened since then, but imagining that this theme at the time got, like, for instance, there was a Defender class cruiser that was like the same size as like Cad Bane's ship, or the newest Star Destroyer, and it was really cool, big, or like the Jedi frigate that came out around the same time, maybe like a year or two before. And you know, the fact that they had put so much time and effort into making that wave and then it just gone is a shame. These figures are all terrific and awesome, and the fact that we only got so few rather, iterations of these figures is a crime. I feel like Lego Star Wars could have done so much more with these molds, and they could have had like another one or two waves, or even brought them back since then and done something cool like an anniversary or anything. I just think it's a shame. I mean, I want more Old Republic era sets. It reminds me of when I was a kid, and the figures are cool. They're unique looking. They have just this really, I'm trying, the word nostalgic isn't the right word, but it's a very like throwback-ish look at, like, you could see the line of progression from like old Obi-Wan to new Obi-Wan, or for how he became old Ben, right? It's the very much the same thing as like I love seeing how, or seeing someone else's perspective on how one thing becomes something else. They're definitely worth your money if you guys can find them. If you want them new, buy them new. If you want them used, buy them on Bricklink. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these sets down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to see all my future uploads. And as always, I've been Bearded Bricks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.